Hello everyone and welcome back to Gamers Elf's Loft. Come in, sit back, relax, and listen to me ramble. We all love D&D for the friends and camaraderie that comes with playing with a group of friends in a setting and being trapped in a room for hours on end with people who either are your best friends, people who you have no idea about, or even worse, are worst enemies. But we don't come together to be laughed at by one or more people and or ridiculed for our choices and beliefs. Today, I have a compilation of stories themed around the idea of being laughed at or singled out for one reason or another. Come in, relax, listen to me ramble. Today's first story comes from D&D Horror Stories from Nekema Michelle. DM went mask off. This literally happened an hour ago. For background, it's hard for me to commit to a time when most games are run, so play-by-post is the way I usually am able to play. Someone advertised a play-by-post game in an interesting modern-day setting. I reached out to the DM, and he quickly gets a group together. All four of us like playing together, and we have fun characters, and we all do well together as time. Fast forward to tonight, I make a self-deprecating joke about my own character. The DM then makes his own joke at her expense. I commented that I laughed, but I would rather him not make those jokes. Then he said he jokes, that's what he does. Racist jokes, women's jokes, Jew jokes, gay jokes, all the jokes! He hates everyone equally. We all try uncomfortably laughing it off until he starts going off on not being able to offend people anymore and how he should be able to be proud of being white. Yep, all four players left real quickly. End of story. Never have I had a story, one, be so precise and it's telling, but two, how I also agree with that statement of as soon as that started happening, gone. Everybody just gone. That was ridiculous. How he's not allowed to offend any people anymore, he should be proud that he's white. Buddy, I'm white and I don't do that. You are racist. And misogynist. And are all a douchebag. Bad. This next story comes from D&D Horror Stories again from a deleted user. Cheating DM fed a lich to a level of a party. The whole table quit. A couple years back, my main circle of friends for more than a decade, 7 including me, were about 12 levels deep in a campaign that had been on the rocks for a while. This was our second campaign together. First was with a different master, the fighter in this story, and was on a different weekend. Immaculately. Intriguing conflict, intense planning, creative combat. We were all really into it, and the jealousy from the DM was palpable. There had already been issues in the past several levels surrounding the DM's ego and willingness to bend the rules to serve only himself. But as a group of genuine best friends, we were willing to let most of it slide. Until this session. Long story short, DM had been gearing us up for a fight with the BBEGs from the fighter's backstory. A thug lord had taken his daughters captive in response to mercenary work done in the fighter's past. BBEG had already tortured Fighter for several hours and killed Fighter's brother just a couple sessions prior. We had scrounged up what we thought was a suitable bargaining price to avoid combat. But DM seemed pretty ready to rumble, so we got started. For context, BBEG was in the center of a courtyard surrounded by a wall topped with archers. Here are a few of the worst offenses. 1. Instead of letting Fighter hold combat for his own BBEG and help save his own children, DM began combat by cutting Fighter's throat and killing him instantly. He had to sit out this full session-length encounter and watch from the sidelines. Initiative was rolled. BBG first, surprise to literally no one. He's revealed to be a reskinned lich with all the same properties and more HP. 2. Auto-stun the rogue, me. Admittedly, I had a high damage output, so it's at least understandable. Rogue then takes several arrows, gets fingered of death, and is down and out in the round 1. I guess DM wanted this fight to be particularly intense, and decided to kill both Fighter and Rogue instead of plan more complex combat. 3. Monk's turn. She tries to scale the wall to start plucking off some archers. Totally normal monk activity at level 12, right? Think again. DM has Monk roll for it despite the ability being written into her class. She rolls really high, and DM still says no. She has a pinch of unsatisfying damage and turn ends. 4. Ranger casts an AoE damage spell. DM insists out of range to hit most foes. It isn't, but oh well, another unsatisfying turn. 5. Cleric, another past DM, casts Sanctuary on herself. BBEG tries to counterspell, but is out of range. He had to argue and measure several times over it. DM gives in, but is pissed. He's up next. My guy, it's not that serious. This is not. I get it. Chelsea's a bitch and have to deal with. That is too much. You are trying to make a TPK and forcing it. That's awful. No, we don't do that. And out of just because one DM had a better story, I'm getting that's not no. We don't do that. That's stupid. Next. 6. BBEG makes a multi-attack on Barbarian and DM tries to include a brutal spell. Fighter notices and messages DM covertly to remind him that no, multi-attacks do not include spells. DM reads the message quietly, then proclaims out loud as a response, I don't care what the rules say. BBEG casts a spell anyway. Yes, some baddies can in fact cast spells with a multi-attack, but not typically like this. By the end of a long and exhausting evening, we were all angry. 2 of us were dead, folks were crying, and we were nowhere near end of combat. DM claimed we'd finish combat next session and called it a night. Not only was there no session the following week, but after several long arguments with no budging from DM, he pulled out of the friend group entirely and cut almost all ties. Edit. We sat him down and told him we were quitting the game. Then he quits the friend group. But this story has a happy ending. Cut a couple years later, and we're now a few levels into our 3rd campaign together, run by Cleric. And couldn't be happier. Lots of complex dungeon design, strict respect to the rules, and thrilling, challenging combat out of the wazoo. And we even picked up Cleric's brother as another player, and have become a stronger group with every passing week. That's what I like to hear. Not that he quit because he got singled out, but because he quit because he was stupid. Also, you guys, we made a new campaign, got new people together, got a new person that's also part of the friend group, got him in there. Now everybody's having a good time. The stories are good. The campaign's good. Great. And I hate hearing that these type of people are part of friend groups. Like, my guy, you can be amazing at Mario Party and bring the best snacks, but no, this is not how anybody should play this, especially because you're jealous. That means your Mario Party game sucks. Doing a quick cut to the video here and saying that most of the views are from non-subscribed people. It would really help me out as a creator in this space if you could leave a like and comment on my videos. If you like what you see, please consider subscribing. It really helps me out and shows me that people actually like my content. So if you could ring my subscription bell and smack that notification bell, you would know when my videos come up. It would also very greatly help me. Now, let's get back to the story. Our 3rd story comes from D&D Horror Stories again with Demorph. My no-goes were not only laughed off, but taken advantage of. So I was playing the campaign that only took place once a month online. I was having fun role-playing, everybody seemed chill and genuinely fun to be around. No red flags. Which is why, when out of the blue, after a session, the topics of no-goes and horror stories came up, I felt like it was not a big deal to throw mine out there. I would not, under any circumstance, like my character to have sexual encounters. Much to my surprise, people started laughing, instead of the, well, that's not going to happen in this campaign anyway. I was bombarded with reasons why this is a dumb thing to say. People have sex though. We can always fade to black. Why would that be a no-go for you? Are you an asexual or something? And no, I'm not. This is just not what I'm playing TRPGs for. I would not even be extremely uncomfortable to roleplay up to the scene before fading to black. It's just not what I want to get out of the game. Anyway, while this did not feel great, I did not feel super discouraged at first. However, when the very next session had my character's childhood friend try to go down on him, I did feel uncomfortable. I made sure everybody knew that. Whatever the joke was not getting or liking it and left the session. After how people reacted to that, I left the campaign for good. Not a major horror story, I know, but it did leave a sour taste in my mouth. Edit, read through the comments, and damn! Apparently, me saying this was not a major horror story was actually downplaying the situation quite a bit. Thanks, guys. Feels good to know that I'm not alone in this. This is why session zeros are very important, and or if new things pop up, tell people about it. But if this happens to you, don't let it. Never let this happen. You should not be able to be laughed off or singled out for your beliefs, your choices, or what makes you have fun in D&D or any TTRPG in general, or any game in general. You should be allowed to like what you like as long as it's not illegal or too terribly taboo, I guess you could say. But because someone doesn't want to do sexual encounters in TTRPGs is like a super common thing for most TTRPG people to do, because not everything's about freaking sex. That should be a very common thing to know. Now, not everything has to be about sex, and then not everything has to be leading to the bedroom. Not every bard has to have sex with everybody. That's not a hard thing. But I digress. Our fourth and last story comes from RPG Horror Stories from The Human Fighter. DM tries to gay shame a friend in me, then it gets worse. So a year ago, my friend John, my girlfriend Jane, and I started playing in a new group with two friends of ours, and Kyle, the GM, a friend of theirs. We agreed on playing a lighthearted game focusing on exploration and curiosity. I made a male human fighter of low birth who aimed to become some kind of champion, while John played a female elven wizard of noble birth who wanted to find out who she was outside of her family. Over the first 5 or so sessions, John and I noticed that we had created the perfect opportunity for a cliche romance, with the low-born guy wanting to prove himself to his out-of-reach, high-born girl, and she wanted him to acknowledge her for her personality, not her heritage. So we started RPing this romance, exchanging flirty banter, awkward compliments, and the like. Nothing sexual or dirty, as no one at the table is into that kind of stuff. We really had fun, and the other players liked it too. One of their characters even tried to matchmake us. But soon the GM Kyle started to try and convince everyone at the table that we were gay, even though we were both straight, for romancing each other, even though we obviously only did it so in character. For a while, we were like the okay, whatever, when this came up because we were having fun nonetheless and didn't want to open Pandora's box. After a while, session 16 or 17, I think, our characters actually became a couple, and at that point, Kyle really just lost it. First, he tried to punish us in character, even though we didn't get to that point and just thought he wanted to challenge us as a group. He then very awkwardly tried to convince my girlfriend that I, being obviously gay, wasn't right for her and that she should get together with him in a superior straight maleness. After that very awkward session, we decided we would sleep over it and then discuss it with the group on the next day. But then, when we woke up, he had messaged John and me that he had kicked us from the table because he just couldn't be around gays, and had then blocked us everywhere. He also messaged my girlfriend, inviting her to stay at the table, and dumped me. At that point, even two friends of ours who tried to stay as passive as possible about the conflict decided that we could no longer play with him. We decided to start a new campaign with John as the GM, and have been happily playing ever since. We wrote Kyle a letter, yeah, an actual letter, as he blocked us everywhere, trying to explain our point of view and the problem with his homophobia, but he surprisingly never answered. End of story. My guy, it's not that important. It's not that big of a deal, bro. Just say you like the girl. That was ridiculous. That should not have happened. Never at all should that have happened, to the point where you literally said to dump him because he's obviously gay, and to come hang out with us and the other guys because we're straight males and we would never do it to you and we would obviously give you the attention. No, bro, you were trying to get with the girl that wasn't going to get with you, and you just tried this sneaky tactic to work. It wasn't going to work ever. Sorry to tell you. But good that everybody besides the DM was like, yeah, this is stupid. We're gone. That's how it should go. But with that being said, thank you guys for watching. If there are any more stories you want me to read, go ahead and put them in the comments for me. And again, like I said in the middle of the video, if you guys would greatly appreciate if you guys subscribed and liked the video. It really makes the algorithm know that you guys like me. And also, remember that the greatest power in all power scaling is the power to say no. Thank you for listening. Enjoy yourselves. Be safe. And thank you for enjoying my forest hovel. Farewell.